Okay, so welcome to a walk through Bogan's Lair with yours truly, Duggo. Okay, so it's not the greatest drain, but it's not a real bad drain for a round pipe. It's not too bad. I love these low sections. It has some good features. It has, the entrance is very unique, as you'll see. So hopefully we have a good walk. I'm not sure, it's in the middle of a wet period, so we'll see how we go. Okay, so there's a lot more water in here than I expected. Luckily I've got my headset, so I'll be, hopefully it'll come out clearer like with the Ballarat thing. I think that worked pretty well. This is like in October, the flood of the century. Yeah, yesterday, or 2 days ago, it was flooding. Tomorrow, or even tonight, it's going to be flooding. So, yeah, I'm sort of taking a bit of a risk, but calculated. Jesus, so much more water in here than I expected. So it would be a lot better in summer. You're not going to get this much water, and I've also left my bloody tripod and my torch. I've only got a headlamp, so I don't know. It's a bit iffy. We'll see how we go anyway. I think I'll get straight into the questions because I'm not sure how long I'm going to be in here today. Nick J2 asks, have you found the abandoned trampoline park? Probably a better question might be, have I looked? Both answers are no. Thanks, Nick. That kid in the corner asks, what is my opinion on Frankston drains and would I do them again? I might respond to you in a DM, kid in the corner. Sarah asks, what is the weirdest thing you've seen in a drain? I don't know, it's a hard question. We saw a sword in Rushcutters Bay in Sydney, which I'll probably chuck a photo up here. That was pretty weird. And then we left it there and it was there for a while. Then Ash, one day, when he found it, he took it to a pub. So it's not there anymore. Naughty Ash. I don't really find a lot of weird things because the water tends to wash everything out, I find, so, yeah, you don't find a lot. I found cars, stripped cars in many tenth. Yeah, you do find a few weird things, but I tend to forget them. People mainly are the weird things you find. Mad Dog Myers asks, how do I get involved? I want to underground. If you mean with the cave clan, I don't know.
It's on you.
It's so hard. I'm getting a bit fed up with, how many people are contacting me saying they can't get hold of their branch or whatever. I mean, I'm not fed up with the people asking. It's just that even when I DM people from Sydney or Melbourne or whatever, the people still contact me saying, I haven't heard anything. I don't know if they're not responding because they've sussed you out and you do too much graffiti or some shit like that, but look, I just keep suggesting to people, go to caveclan.org and hit the contact link and then follow all that and then email your state. But look, it seems to be really hard to get a response even these days. I don't know, there's probably something they're not telling me, but maybe the fact that I'm putting it forward, maybe that pisses some people off, some people have hurt egos or whatever. So maybe do it without mentioning my name. Well, I'd suggest that. As soon as you mention my name, Silage and Myth, those sort of guys will be, the usual. A Plagued Life, Anonymous asks if Trump currently equals pi, Reagan pre-dementia equals what? Trump 2024.
You again.
I don't know. Operation Under asks, what year was Bogan's Lair built? I reckon it might have been made in 1988. I'll have a look as we go through. Leonotsky asks, what's my favourite beer? Nowadays there's so many, I usually try something different. But Grolsch, I like Grolsch. I tend to fall back on that. I mean the imported Grolsch. I'm not up to date, but for a while all those European beers were produced in Australia as well, and they were shit. They all tasted the same. Normally I get those swing top bottles, and they seem to be imported, I think. But yeah, Grolsch I guess is my fallback.
Yeah, so tree roots and rocks and shit make it a bit deep. Never used to be like that. There's massive tree roots in here. Fucking hell.
Rimbo asks, has anyone actually slid out of Megaslide before? A few have seen the video. I'll chuck it on here.
And all
but the person that I know that ate shit the worst was probably me. I climbed up to the top, there was a heap of us there, and I was the first one up, so there was still a lot of that mossy slime build up. And I got up to the top and I sat one foot under so I was sort of sitting on my heel and had the other foot out in front of me, straight. And then I just pushed on the sides. It's kind of like a toboggan. And I started going, thinking, I just have to push my way all the way down. But I didn't. I just gained speed continuously until I was just going flat out, and I hit the bottom. The tunnel sort of flattens out for the last couple of metres, last metre or whatever. I hit the flat bit, which sort of made me bounce. I was going so fast, and I had a backpack on. I flew out, so I'm looking up now, and I flew out sort of feet first. I flew across the concrete at the entrance, and then there's a drop into the river. My backpack, so instead of my head smacking into the concrete, my backpack hit it, so it probably saved me. Then I sort of bounced and landed in the river and amongst all these rocks, and I could just feel all this pain. Sort of that more stinging pain, where you don't know what's happening. And I'm like, fuck.
Cool.
And there's a picture that Curé drew, which I'll chuck on here. Anyway, I sort of do that. I stand up and I'm like, something's got to be wrong. I could just feel all this sort of pain, but I stood up and I was like checking myself out and see if bits were sticking out and all that. But then I realised it was just pain from, hitting the rocks rather than snap joints and things like that. I was like, shit, I can't believe it. Alright, and then I look up and everyone's just staring at me like, what the fuck? And then I heard, everyone started talking about it. I just saw this blur, heard this noise and just saw this rookie go flying past. I feel like I've told this story recently before, so forgive me if I have already mentioned this on a previous walkthrough video.
George Powell was here.
Yo Snowy asks, you've made 10 zillion zines, why not a huge book compiling all the history in one place? I guess it's a zine thing. They're making zines because they like zines, not books, I guess. There's not a real big demand for drain exploring stuff. Unlike, say, Baylor's graffiti book or graffiti books in general, where there's thousands and thousands of people interested. And even though you guys would be like, hey, that's crazy, I'd buy one. But you're relying on everyone buying one and everyone paying, $80. So that's why I sort of do the Il Drono. I've still got some full Il Drono sets for $200, but it's 100 zines. So yeah, if you're interested, let me know. I want to do a book of silly stories. I'm heading towards doing a podcast for probably the second half, 2023, and the first half of 2024, which would be just gathering funny stories. Which is what the book I want to do is not, oh, look at this good bluestone tunnel. It'll be like just funny cave clan stories and things that made urban exploration, to me, fun, you know, rather than how technical it is nowadays. I don't know if that answered your question. Yo, Snowy. Yo, Snowy!
Okay, this is where shit starts happening. It's not a bad tunnel, really. But I'm going to go on this one for a bit. I don't think this one goes very far. So I've only got a headlamp, which could go flat at any second. So I'll just go and have a look at this one. Saw a snake here one summer, a tiger snake curled up in here. So, the other problem is, I'm doing it between, you know, when those really bad storms happened in mid-October. I'm doing it in between that, so there's heaps more water in here than usual. Okay. I also forgot my tripod. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think it was more built up than I was expecting, and yeah. So there's a tunnel I came in. And I've got all my feet wet. Someone asked, is my feet wet yet? So yes, my feet are wet. Well and truly. Yeah, so I've totally screwed this one up. Forgot the bloody tripod, forgot my main torch, so this headlamp dies. I'm fucked with filming. Anyway, at least the drain seems a bit better now, and I'm not splashing through so much water. There's heaps of grills in this drain. Heaps of grill rooms. Yeah, so when I say it's one of the better round pipes, I guess it's the weird entrance in the underpass, and you know, the way this one joins in, and there's all these grilled rooms. It's not a bad drain. I mean, it's nothing overly special. And after you see me do it, you probably don't need to do it, but there's a lot less water in here normally in the other tunnel, other pipe. But yeah, it's all happening. Just trying to save my headlamp a bit. I'm pretty sure this is where I did the hidden body thing, which pissed heaps of people off, as in heaps of YouTube viewers off, because they thought it was a real body. And I think I was laying down there. I might insert a bit of the clip if supposed to be so much more elaborate that I dropped, when I was checking the grill at the end, and I dropped my car key in. So I had to get in through that grill, I presume the one you got in. Crawl through, get my key, then I started going to these overflows.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, I can't find this, I just got here.
Hang on, someone has actually dropped their keys down a grill.
And I had a coat hanger that I was going to wrap around my neck.
This is the right spot. Most improved 2012. What about 2022? Brooks on patrol. Oh, look at that interactive. Look at this slag here. No, I'm not slagging there. We're going to have fun getting all this extra water. I reckon it's going to be pretty shit. I'm sort of committed now to going all the way through. Fucking hell. I wonder if I've got a key for that. Probably have. Well, I made it over so far.
Bogan's burnt all the rubber off.
Okay, here I go. Wish me luck.
YV St. Liam. What the fuck is it with these names? Best abandoned spot back in the day. Well, Melbourne Power Station was definitely the best I ever did. Like doing the basic. I'll talk about that one maybe in another. I'm going to do a Melbourne Power Station video next year. Next year being 2023. And I'll tell the full story in that. That was just like, we owned 2 small city blocks basically. Hot water, theaterette, showers, toilets. Port Melbourne Seamen's Mission, which I'll try and put a link in here to the video we shot. That was a good one. Panch, you've heard, I've gone on about Panch. Pentridge was nice, but I've only ever been in a couple of times. Sale Jail, I really liked. I might pop some photos of Sale Jail in here. And obviously the more recently, Morwell Briquette Factory, you know, I had a heap of fun in there. So I sort of started going in there when it was still in use, but partially abandoned. But then because of work, I couldn't go in there for a while. But then I just sort of stuff it and I started going in. And, you know, I've got a heap of footage that, once again, 2023, I'm planning on doing a few videos. So there's a few of my clips from the Morwell Power Station out there. But yeah, probably more, but they're the ones that stick out to me. Alcoa was good, but I didn't do that properly. But what I did do was awesome. That psych place out at Ararat, that was awesome too. I might have a few photos of that. Which is, I think Dirge got us in there, which was, yeah, that was awesome. Abandon X asks, what are some of the strange names cave planners come up with over the years? A flooded jumps out. A is when we first went up it was flooded. You had to use a boat, and we tied string. We were sort of inexperienced with this kind of stuff, and we put Cobra in a raft, and we sent him up the thing. He paddled up, and we had this rope, and he's like, oh, "Don't let go of the rope, Duggo, hey!" And then he floated up the tunnel, and eventually the rope ran out. We sort of reached in and then had to drop it, and we just saw the rope disappear up in the tunnel, and all you could hear was Cobra going, "Hey!" Hey, Dougal, don't let go of the rope. As he faded off into the darkness. But eventually he came back. He lived. But he was like, fuck, man, this is the best thing ever. You know, just added so much to the adventure, like having to use a boat. It was the first one we really did it with. So it's called A Flooded because of, you know, Cobra saying A. Bad Air, which we named after the first, you know, drain subject to sudden flooding and bad air. We actually saw the sign, but we didn't go up there. Big Bastard, we just called, and someone go, we were trying to think of a name, and someone goes, it's a Big Bastard, so we called it that. Burp, which stands for Big Underground Round Pipe, and it has a little anus of a tunnel near it called Fart, which is a fairly average round tunnel. Coad, Coad stands for kind of a drain. Dead goes under a graveyard. Forgotten was a drain that was right near Woody and Sloth's house, but Woody had just forgotten about it. They'd change the name if they knew what foxhole meant. Let's just say it's something to do with Samantha Fox, for those that remember the 80s. Franger, which is named after Frankston. Gets bigger. It's probably not really strange at all. But one thing we always say when we're in drains of people, when they come up to a change and, you know, we'd be behind them or whatever, they'd call out, it gets bigger. It was like an awesome thing to call out. You always wanted to hear that, gets bigger. Grills in the mist, when I found that, it was a misty day and I couldn't see it properly. I had to get out of the car and walk over to it. So Grills in the Mist, obviously based on the name Gorillas in the Mist. Head Injuries was a drain that three people hit their heads in the first visit. They were all Midnight Oil fans, pretty much, so it's named after the Midnight Oil album.
Lots and lots of grills. This drain was built in the 80s actually, around about the time caveman started. I think it was the early 80s, mid 80s. That says MMBW, so MMBW, so it could even be 70s. No, MMBW around in the 80s. I'm going to turn my torch back on. Oh, hang on. You know, a walkthrough video is never complete without a cock and balls. Okay, I'll turn the light back on. Even though I did this drain not too long ago, years ago, but compared to some of the ones that I've been coming back to, I still can't remember how far it is to the entrance, but I don't think it's a super long drain. You know, we could come around the bend and it's the bend already, so I'm going to see a date. Well, it's 2100, so it's 2.1 metres, which is why I like it too. In the summer when there's less water in here, it's quite a pleasant walk. Still can't get that shadow thing right, especially when I've got the headlamp on. I have to admit, I'm kind of hoping that it isn't as long. Well, I'm hoping it's as short as I remember. Maybe there's one more grill room, or I actually think it joins back in the. I thought it was two tunnels. We went this way in. Lucky to the top of the set. I should put the stickers up. Forgot all about them. Yeah, I think it, or maybe it didn't. Yeah, I thought it was double barrel, but outlet, but maybe it isn't. The other tunnel seems to have fucked right off. The way I've started filming these is I tend to muck around with the audio, so I basically end up dragging the audio off and just putting it back over the edited footage, or then I can edit the footage and try and, even though you wouldn't really think, but I try and get rid of some of the more boring stuff, and then I put the audio over the edited footage. Obviously sometimes when I'm talking about something in the drain, I have to, so it gets a bit complicated, grabbing those bits, all the bits where I'm talking about. So I kind of try not to talk about, I used to say, oh, that's pretty cool graffiti. I try not to say that as much anymore, stuff that's specific to the drain. I still do, but I don't just do those random little bits along the way. This drain was found by Bob. Biscuit and Bob. Feels slightly done with battery. Some nice people included there, and me. Dead baby too. Turn my torch off for a bit. So the drain was found by Bob, and which was a great find, I don't know, because we've been down this way looking for drains, and you just get sucked in. It just seems like an area that would have good drains. It just has heaps of floodways, and we just, every time newbies would be keen, they're like, I'm going to go down there and look for drains. But don't waste your time. There's lots of good bits and pieces. Thongs found some decent, bits and pieces, and ISO. But this drain's like, as far as I know, it's the best by a mile. So Bob did really well to bring this to the clan. Good stuff, Bob. Another fuck you. Someone pissed off walking through this drain. There's the entrance. One of the questions asked before was, there's some weird drain names. Fucking Bogan's Lair. Called Bogan's Lair because when Bob first found it, all he found was Bogan graffiti, and then I think out the front there were some Bogans. So, so that's another one that I forgot to add. Yeah, it's not a bad round pipe. I'm not saying, top 10, probably not even top 50. It's nowhere near as good as Biggie's, which is mostly round. But there's quite a few features, and I don't even know what this is. That's another little room. I should point out. Oh no. So there is another pipe. Nothing else. So that pipe goes off somewhere else. Kentucky Fried Chicken. Okay. Right. I'm guessing you want to go and see what that light is up there, so let's go. I thought it was quite quick. Yeah, so there's not much water here. I'm guessing this is just going to go to another one of those flood room things. We'll soon find out. This one's a little bit smaller. Oh, it's probably still 2.1. Yeah, because last time I came up here, I was coming up, so there's a Cave Plan Expo coming through, and I was coming up the tunnel to hide and pretend to be a dead body. So, So I just rushed through because the other guys were already in, and I couldn't, I didn't have much time to explore it. So this is probably the first time I've been up here, up this little section, in many, many years. Many, many. No. It's squishy remote here. Not someone's ridden a bike doing it. Is there a track? Oh, this is so squishy. Like I don't reckon I've ever been here. Yeah, I get it banging. I don't mind being in the mud, but once I got in the mud I realise, oh, as fucked as I am. Fucking junkies. So I might head back in. Oh shit, were they there before? I don't know. Good to see blue sky too, especially when we're getting storms of the century. I'm just hardcore. That means cave clan. Or something like that. Oh shit. Awesome. Oh, gross. The other thing I should point out, I'll turn my torch back on. The other thing I should point out, the other end is quite built up area and there's a restaurant right beside it. So I guess there's the slightest chance that someone might be waiting for me at the other end. I hope not. You might also notice if I do a lot of cuts when I'm in the middle of saying something. Generally, if I've got the time, I do it. If I don't, I don't. But generally, if I do this a bit, sometimes I get wet and I'm old, my immune system starts shutting down. But anyway, I sniff a lot, and it sounds shit on the camera, like because I've got the camera near my face. I always say, and a lot of that. So when they start getting to be like 40 minutes long, I can cut 5 minutes out just of all the silence and Jesus fucking hell. I stepped on a star pick and it rolled around and yeah, you see what I mean by the Bogan stuff. Here's another high standard of graffiti that probably encouraged Bob to call this place Bogan's Lair. In my room, beat my cock. Nutted in my sock. Keeping that door locked. Bitch, you better knock. That's not bad actually. What are you doing, step bro? Yeah, so I do, sometimes when I'm saying something a bit more serious and I have the little cuts in it, I don't know, sometimes I go on too much, so I just try and leave the essential rather than me trying to do all my apologise to everyone that I'm about to offend and all that sort of shit. Yeah, so the cuts aren't like me, like I'm not changing what I'm saying. Well, not much anyway, I'm sick as fucking spit. Okay, so here we come to the outlet. I really forget what it's like out here. But thanks for watching. And like I said, come down in summer, send me a message and I'll tell you how to get in if you don't know. It's better to do from the other end. If you go all the way through, I mean you probably can get out anyway, but I find it better just going one way. You get in and you do the shit part first and then you... Fucking hell. You do the shit part first and in the summer there won't be as much water. if you're worried about that. Yeah. You can just come in from the outlet, but then you know, like the way I do it, every step I know each step's closer to the end. Okay. I'll speak to you soon. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. How you going? Don't worry, don't stress. I just came all the way through from the highway. You've been listening to me.
Nam. That was just a stupid idea to name a drone after Vietnam, so we could, if we injured ourselves, we could say, you know, get a scar and say, got that one in Nam, because we were dickheads.